Hi, I'm Tali Frankel and I'm a speech and language therapist. Today we're going to be talking about auditory discrimination. Discrimination is a really important pre-literacy skill, and it's referring to a child's ability to hear the difference between similar but different sounds. So to give you an example, the sounds b and p are very similar. They're both produced on the lips. They're both produced with sound coming up through the lungs, being trapped in the mouth and then being suddenly released. The only difference between them though is that when you say p, there is no voicing, whereas when you say b, you do use your voice. Can you imagine a child who can't tell the difference between a b and a p? That means that words like bat and pat sound identical to them. And once you start introducing the letters, B's and P's are pretty similar too, except that they're both circles and sticks, but they have slightly different orientations. Very confusing for a child who can't hear the difference and is now expected to be able to represent them differently. If you suspect that your child has auditory discrimination difficulties, some of the things you may notice are that they may seem to mishear words, that they'll mispronounce words that they encounter frequently, or they may not always understand what you've said. So they may misunderstand something, an instruction that you've given them or a piece of information that you've told them. They may routinely come up with different or their own unique ways of pronouncing words from davening or brachot or songs that they hear in the classroom. Some of the things that you can do to encourage discrimination in your child are things like playing different sounds for them. Have pictures in front of them that represent different kinds of objects that make noises. They could be animal sounds, musical instruments, mechanical sounds like lawnmowers or cars, and then play pre-recorded sounds for them. These are readily available all over the internet and you can get them downloaded within a matter of seconds. Play the sound and see if your child is able to identify what sound you're playing. You can turn this into a bingo game. You can turn it into a competition to see who can fill up their board with sounds the fastest. For small children, it could even be as simple as going for a walk in the garden and stopping to listen to sounds like overhead planes, the wind in the trees, outside traffic, people's voices, and identifying the birds in the trees as well. As children get older, you expect them to differentiate environmental sounds a little bit more finely. So this time, instead of just hearing the difference between a mechanical sound and a musical instrument, you may now want them to hear the difference between a drum and a flute and a trumpet. You may also play games where you can do this in a classroom or in the family, where you play a game where somebody is blindfolded and some other member of the family speaks and they have to guess who that member is. You can also play games where you start introducing rhyming, where you give the child two words and see if they can identify whether those words are rhyming words or not. As children get older, they refine these skills even more. So you could do things like you could create rhythms by tapping or clapping and have your child imitate or copy you. You can even give them individual sounds now and get them to listen to a specific sound. This is especially a good trick for kids who are in grade R. So once they start learning the letterland and they start being able to associate specific sounds with specific letters, you can say to them, here is the sound B. You tell me if you can hear it at the beginning of these words. You can ask them to hear if two sounds are the same or different. Are they both soft? Are they both loud? Are they both long? Are they both short? Or are they completely different from one another? You can also develop discrimination skills by having children listen to instructions while playing background music or just even background noise, so that they have to really focus on what's being said to them to be able to understand what they're being told to do. If you remain concerned about your child's discrimination skills, please don't hesitate to contact a professional.